that it would be in prior years. It's slated for 1 week only. I think that the largest impact, beyond, of course, the recovery of the population and global health, is on the economic front. We're going to see the first time now in the first quarter of 2020 a contraction of 6.8% in China. It's the first contraction since quarterly records have been recorded in 1992, and probably the first contraction since the 70s, since the end of the Cultural Revolution in 76. So it's a significant change. It's going to impact economic policy, and it's going to impact poverty alleviation policies in China for quite a while. There's a rising unemployment, officially at 5.9%, probably higher because it's very hard to count migrant workers in those figures, but perhaps a number close to 80 million people unemployed. Those are significant numbers, and they're going to impact economic and social policy for the coming years.
And let me get to something you just mentioned, and that's China's goal to eliminate extreme poverty by the end of this year. With the current challenges the country faces, do you think China can still accomplish that goal?
I think there is a real rethinking that's going to be necessary, and I'll explain why. In 2009, you had a global economic meltdown, and China had to all countries move a lot of money back into the economy. It became an investment-driven growth. Over the last decade, China has responsibly moved from that to a consumption-led growth. Now that's all going to be reset. There's no choice but to move back into large investment projects, national investment projects such as road and rail projects. And the difficulty that you have is that the poorest part of the population, as well as small and medium-sized companies, are very hard to reach with national investment projects. There's going to have to be a very conscious effort to include individuals, families, and small businesses into this kind of investment-led growth again, when we're moving it back away again from consumption-led growth. That means China's it's expected to pump about 4 to 6% of GDP into the economy for growth purposes. That kind of investment in dollar terms is about between 540 and 840 billion US dollars. Those are significant numbers, and how to make sure that the overall population is included in that kind of investment is an enormous challenge. It's very hard to accomplish.
In this country, of course, which is a different political and economic system, Congress has passed a number of stimulus packages. We're going to hear from Premier Li Keqiang setting out the country's economic goals for this year on Friday. Do you expect China to approve some kind of stimulus package?
Yeah, I think so. I think there will be, as I mentioned earlier, about 4 to 6% of GDP that will be a stimulus package. The difference between China and the U.S., and perhaps also between Europe and the U.S. in this regard, is the U.S. has so far made a choice to move that stimulus directly to individuals under tax-based formulas. In other words, tax returns of prior years have determined who is a recipient directly of that kind of stimulus. It doesn't really directly help employment, only indirectly if those funds get respent, which right now they're not being respent because so many people are out of work that they need to save or spend that kind of money on essentials such as food or heating. I expect China to have a combination of a stimulus that goes to individuals, but primarily to employers, hopefully also to small and medium-sized employers, so that the unemployment rates can be kept in check. It's much more in line with the approach that European countries have pursued, not including the United Kingdom.
Interesting. All right.